So really, thank you. I can't quite get over where I'm standing right now. I think about when, in the early days, a fundraiser for tips was, let's invite a couple people over to the house and see if we can get them to give some money to tips. And so to see all of you here is kind of daunting. Asking for money can be hard. I really appreciate the 1-2 punch of Arthur and Natasha. Clearly, they made it look easy because if you really believe in the mission of an organization, it is much easier to ask people to dig into their wallets and give. So their commitment to the organization showed. I need some of your attention, but if you're still adding zeros to your check or anything like that, that's your priority, and you can just listen to me in the background. You will want to give special attention to our keynote speaker, who I'll be introducing in just a moment. But first, I would like to do two or three things. Thank you. Thank you, Maureen and Tia, for forming TIPS. You've really transformed so many people's lives. And who would have imagined? As many of you know, Linda Tessier is our executive director. You've already heard that she couldn't be here today for a health issue. I know that is driving her crazy, as she would want to be. She puts so much effort into Teens in Public Service every day of the year and into this event. So we wish her a prompt return to full health. I want to thank Melissa Masterleo and Eleanor Hyrick for all the work they did on today. There you go. And especially for connecting us with our keynote speaker today, so we're appreciative of that. And finally, Natasha always starts off the event and ends up the event, and nobody gets to say thank you, Natasha. She's a real professional. She takes such good care of us, very committed, a board member of TIPS, and we couldn't do it without her. So please give some applause to our friend Natasha Ehrlich. There are a couple things I wanted to say. We have a new initiative that really was rolled out today, and it's the idea of sponsoring your own teen in public service. Maureen and I have each had an individually sponsored teen for a whole bunch of years, and we compare notes about it. We're a little bit competitive about it even as to what our teen is doing and how good they are. But these are kids that we get to know during the year, and then in many cases we followed up and maintained friendships with them afterwards. So it's been very enriching to our lives. I don't know why it took us so long to figure out that basically everybody here deserves the same opportunity. So we started this idea of sponsoring your own teen, and we kind of systematized it with the idea that a donor, and it can be an individual, it could be a group, it could be your book club, could be your family or your business, that you can have an assigned TIPS intern out there working in the community in your name. We piloted the idea just 5 weeks ago. We got the idea and said, can we actually do this? And we promoted it briefly. And I'm excited to announce that this summer there will be a Dobay TIPS intern. I like that one, of course. A Melissa Masterleo Properties TIPS intern, a Bader Martin TIPS intern, which I appreciate. Those are my CPAs, and they should be your CPAs. And I'm a CPA telling you that, so I must be right. A Democracy Live intern. I should take about a half hour to tell you about Democracy Live, how we're changing the way we vote in America, but I'll get to that at another time. A Gray Star Central Park East TIPS intern, an SOS Foundation TIPS intern, and of course, Maureen and Joe still have interns, and we'll see how they turn out. So our dream next year is that every table here has an intern sponsored for the following year, and that we also have local companies like Amazon, Boeing, and I especially like the idea of Costco because they do everything in bulk, so we should get several from them. So your job coming out of today is, I just need 10 minutes a day for the next 364 days. So whoever you run into, your employer, your banker, your insurance person, your Rotary Club, your lawyers, your accountants, even your dentist, when you're there in the chair with all that stuff sticking out of your mouth, you should be whispering, you ought to have a TIPS intern. So get these people to sponsor a teen, and it can really be a life-changing experience for the kids who deserve to be TIPS interns, who we can't afford to hire unless you support them. The last thing before introducing Noah is what I'll call a call for help. We really want to turn tips over to you. So please consider serving on our board or in any one of the dozens of volunteer activities that we've established. These include things like a celebration of service, which is a very unique event that will bring a tear to your eye, and I promise you'll find it very moving and inspirational. Interviewing TIPS intern applicants, really a fascinating experience seeing these young people, and you do it as a team member with a former TIPS intern, and it's one of those great transition points where this young person who's helping you look over them and realize that just a year or 2 or 5 years ago, they were the one on the other side of the table, and you'll see how TIPS has transformed them. Also, we do site visits to the charities that we serve, and we need volunteers to help us do that, where you go out and see the site, make sure that our intern is interacting well, and this is a very satisfying experience. So we have a whole bunch of pretty active and fun things you can do. It's not a commitment for a lifetime, but it's a commitment of a little bit of your time. I can make you an absolute promise that you'll get more out of it than you put into it. So if you want to follow up on that, you can note it on your card, or you saw who the board members are here. Contact any board member and say, I want to get involved, and I promise you we will get you involved.